Pub Battles Waterloo. Before we begin, I will mention that when I set up the British, I don't divide them out into specific areas of corps because since they're on defense, they don't need to form a concentrated attack, but they may need to respond anywhere depending on the chit draw. So I kind of mix them up, and at any time I hope to have somebody nearby who can react to whatever the French are up to. Alright, here we have the French attack, and it looks like it's going to be pretty devastating. Now what the British have planned is to fall back from that first position and defend farther back to give the Prussians more time to enter and become a threat. We'll see if that works. When I set up, you'll notice that I have all these HQs here, and all my French HQs were here. That was because they have enough time to move out and command anyone they need to command, yet at the same time, the opponent doesn't get an earlier view of where certain corps might be setting up. A little fog of war. I pulled back this flank attack that started here because Proponker is in a chateau and cannot be flanked, and cavalry can't attack a chateau. After combat on turn 1, you see that the British plan is still working at this point. They actually have damaged the initial French assaults on the eastern flank and on the western flank. Turn 2. Now on turn 2, you see the Prussians are coming on, and you'll notice their marching columns are very stretched out. So even though they're coming on, they've been coming on since turn 1, it'll be a while. Here the Brunswick infantry has moved up on Super V's Lancers, and they're just going to chase them off. There won't be any combat there. The British have fought fighting withdrawals all along the front. The French have not been able to get them into any sort of decisive combat at this point. Super V will run back and we'll finish turn 2. Turn 3, so this is mid-afternoon. The French are making a full attack this turn. Let's see how this works out. The French Guard has moved in on Bülow's 4th Prussian Corps, and here Blucher's 1st Corps is flanking these French cav. They're just going to ride off. Alright, here the Guard surprised the Prussians in column, particularly drove them back. The cavalry rode away from the flank attack by the Prussian infantry. In the center, the British were pushed back. Over here in our dead pile, we see Picton got eliminated. The rest of these units were pushed back by the retreating troops. I, for one, should be very interested to see if the British pulling back and letting the Prussians play a bigger role turns out to be a significant tactic. Will this work? Desperate fighting in the center. The Prussians are actually doing their good. The Grenadiers have fallen back. Both divisions of the 1st Corps have fallen back. Alright, turn 5. We see the French Guard creating an impenetrable line. The French main line is establishing itself, and there's one attack over here. The French have driven back the British here. The combat here was just a couple of detachments that reduced each other, never to be seen again in this battle. And the rest of it holds. Breathing turn for the French. Alright, here we have turn 6, some desperate measures. Here it's just cavalry, they'll ride off. But everyone has been thrown into the center combat, and we'll see how far the Guard gets. They did get flanked. Alright, here we are, turn 6, and I'm calling it an Allied victory. And this is why. Over here, I have an old Guard rule that I use, not part of the system. I just like the drama. The old Guard, being the supermen they are, they always ignore the first hit in combat, which essentially makes them impossible to destroy, except if the Guard ever is forced to retreat, the game is over. Here the Guards have been forced to retreat. They destroyed a Prussian division in the process. So with the Guard retreating, I'm calling the game.